Welcome to another episode of the Pt.3 podcast. I am your host, Jeff Wasserman, and as with me, as always, is my co-host, Sir Kyle Combs.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard,
and it looks just like him. Kyle right now is rocking.
What's going on?
He's been growing out a neck beard for a couple months.
It's a neared, some would say.
He's got a full on beard right now. But we have a short and sweet simpleton podcast for you. It's nothing crazy. Lean in. 5 good questions with Jeff and Kyle.
It might be a little crazy.
There's a lot of questions. We put one of the question boxes up on our Instagram where we ask people, hey, do you want to what questions do you have for us? Give us what you got. And I don't think we're showing any kind of filter here. We're just going to let it all fly. Is that what's going on, Luke? So if you guys did send us questions, we appreciate it. We put that question box up every now and then. And one thing I want to annotate here, if you're not already following us on Instagram, please do so. It's just Protein Bros Podcast. That's where you keep up to date with all things going on in local fitness, as well as the events going on. That's probably one of the best parts about our Instagram page is that Tori and Luke do a great job running the page as far as letting everybody know what kind of fitness community events are going on in the community. Like we have probably 25 races we've posted in just the last couple of days as far as events going on throughout the Kansas City community. And you can check on our highlights page for all local events going on, that we keep those current. So moving forward to the first question, Luke, what do you got for us?
First question.
Is chocolate and peanut butter the GOAT of combo flavors? And I'm just going to get an answer to this and say absolutely. I started my day today with a chocolate peanut butter protein shake.
I would say up there is cookies and cream. Cookies and cream is one of my faves.
Yeah, but it's easy to mess up.
Yeah.
You know, cookies and cream can be just like terrible vanilla. You know,
here's the thing about chocolate and peanut butter. If you slather a chocolate bar in peanut butter, that's a goat combo. If
have you even done that though? Be honest. Have you actually done that? I don't think.
No. But let's say you go to Andy's and you get a frozen custard. You put some hot fudge on there.
The James Brownie Funky Jackhammer.
Yeah,
that's where
you would know that. I don't know that.
It's the highest calorie and best tasting thing on the Andy's menu. Yeah,
that delicious. What supplement companies try to do as far as flavoring their stuff with peanut butter and chocolate sometimes leads a little to be desired, in my opinion.
I think the real thing we need to clarify here is when someone's doing a chocolate peanut butter combination regarding a protein flavors, do they do authentic peanuts or do they do peanut butter flavoring? Peanut allergen means you're not going to have as many people that are going to be buying your product. But if you do authentic real peanut butter and you're flavoring and do real peanuts, like PB2, if you will,
yeah,
tastes way better.
Way better.
Way better. So,
and who on
authentic
earth?
Peanut butter flavor versus peanut butter flavoring, right? There's banana, and then there's banana flavoring, right? Like banana runts. 2 totally different flavors.
Yeah.
So, chocolate peanut butter, if it's authentic, we're in for that. That person's correct. Whoever sent that in, thank you. On to the next one. Kyle, what do you think sets us apart from others in our industry?
We're handsome.
It's a good start. I'm not going to disagree.
Yeah, I would say that's the number one thing. The second would probably be our. I don't know. I would say that probably the level of training that we give people. We're very much supplement nerds. Our number one goal is to get people the best possible results. And anybody who's listening to this, if you buy a supplement, there is a lot more to getting into shape than buying a supplement. A supplement is a small portion of that. So we train our people to basically give people the absolute best possible results, which includes diet, exercise, recommending gyms, recommending trainers if that's something that they need. And, I think that that's the number one thing that sets us apart is probably just care. What's your opinion?
I'd like to say that, our reviews do the best job of annotating why we're different. Because like you said, no one's actually posting about the supplement that they bought. Because if we're being honest, you can get a lot of pretty good supplements in a lot of places. That's the truth. You could also buy some terrible ones. But what our store does best is make sure that when you leave with the right thing for your goal, and that you have a very clear expectation of what it's going to take for you to get those results. And when you read those reviews, only thing that people talk about is just the wonderful experience they have with the staff. And that's what makes us so proud of what we do, is just because we genuinely care about everybody that walks in.
Absolutely.
On to the next.
What's the next one?
Hey, whoever put that in there, thanks for the ego stroke. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird talking about yourself. You feel like, man, I don't know. I don't want to brag, that feels
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. What sets us apart, it could be that we're
You like a
terrible.
little brag, a little humble brag sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of boasting, boastful, if you will, braggadocious. All right, one of the most unexpected but most enjoyable parts of running a business.
I thought it was just going to say running. I was like, none of it. No parts of running is fun.
Most enjoyable, one expected but most enjoyable parts, man. Because there's a lot of things that you didn't know that you were going to do that you don't like. That's what first thing I recognized. But as far as one of the most unexpected but most enjoyable parts of running a business, I would simply say that if you stick around in business for a long time, there are people that you recognize that are other business owners, and you watch them grow and you watch them, and you know that their grind, their difficulties were probably similar to yours. They probably had to overcome a lot to get to where they were. And it's fun to meet other business owners who have had lasting power in their space. You know what I mean? I think that's been like an unexpected thing I never thought of, but I can think of a handful of business owners, gym owners that we've met on here, where it's just really fun to talk to them about their struggles, their grind, because so many people that, have quit in those same scenarios, and these people haven't, and they persevered. And
yeah.
It's just cool.
I think for me, this is like the typical answer, but watching people who have basically been with us for a long time. So we have a district manager named Freddie. He's been on the podcast. You probably know him if you're watching this. Freddie just had his first kid. And when we first met Freddie, he was working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. He was not happy with it. We talked him into coming to work for us, and he took a significant pay cut and kind of trusted us to be able to make that move.
He really believed in the opportunity.
Just kind of like helping him see through his potential, and also get him back to a point where, he's exceeding the amount of money he was making there. He's at a higher level position. He runs our company basically. And then also to watch him start a family. It's like, for that type of stuff for me is like the most rewarding. It's like it's what makes you feel good about, what you've worked so hard to build. And, I'm just, that's probably the thing that makes me the most proud, is looking back on people like that are going through big steps in lives. He's also bought a house since he, started working for us. It's just that type of stuff that I think that is.
And to be clear,
rewarding.
that dude started working for us at $10 an hour, and we gave him a bigger, like we started him out like more than what we normally started people out at the time. This was years ago, and now like $50 an hour.
Here's a little lesson for you business owners. If you got a good person and you're not paying yourself shit, you should probably pay that person more than you pay yourself. And that's what we did.
That's what we did.
And we were like, hey man, he's good. He's actually an adult. He's somebody who's going to take this seriously. We need to do whatever we can to bring this guy into the fold and make sure that we're treating him the right way, from the beginning. And like I said, at that point, we weren't paying ourselves anything. I was living off of Kim, my wife's salary there for a while.
A lot more we can go into there, but yeah, it's an awesome story for sure. All right, Kyle,
thanks, man.
Why do you look like you swallowed a fart? What who said this?
Teresa Brittner.
Oh, okay, Teresa. Shout out Teresa.
Dude, it's because Luke be feeding me these protein shit that they actually do taste like a fart. That's why my face looks like I swallowed a fart.
And also, it looks like your face looks like you haven't wiped your ass in a long time, to be honest with you. You look like you've been living in the woods.
Zach, you told me I looked like Zach Galifianakis, and I was like, man, all right. Okay.
Yeah, dude. You're getting
We could start a Beside Two Ferns, segment.
Is that it? What's called? Isn't it Between?
Or Between Two Ferns.
Between Two Ferns. We could totally do that. Yeah. All right, next one. What separates your company from other supplement companies? Dude, it's kind of like the same question, right?
I feel like that's the same thing.
I mean,
we've already answered.
We're wholesale. We don't sell online. I mean, that's a really, really big one, is that we don't sell online at all.
I'm just going to
reinforce. Literally no supplements for sale online. That's our biggest thing that separates us, because we really do value the in-person experience, the handshake at the end, and to genuinely build a relationship with somebody. Because people have a hard time figuring out what supplements to buy, because there's so many options and there's so many things to choose from. We'd rather you talk to a real human being that actually cares about you and set you up on the right track. That's the fastest way I can say.
I got nothing else to add to that.
Moving on. Where does KC rank in the nation for best fitness community? And this is a very prestigious award that has been given out year after year. Best fitness community. Appreciate whoever sent that in. That's a tough call. I've lived in 3 places in my entire life. 4, including Key West for a summer. But literally, that's the only places I've ever lived. But I will say that out of all those places, Casey for sure ranks number one for all the places I've lived. And it's truly, truly because the people that live here absolutely love living here.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. You know, everywhere I lived, people were like, couldn't wait to get out of or St. Louis. People couldn't wait to get out of Springfield, Missouri. These are the places I've lived. The people I meet here, people are super excited about living here, and there's a lot of civic pride. And that's something that I really love about Kansas City is that the people that live here love living here. And shout out to Patrick Mahomes, because probably not a lot of people thought that before Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea because I moved here when he did.
I mean, I'm from Kansas, and so Kansas City has always been like I've always noticed that about Kansas City. There's always been a lot of Kansas City pride. I would say I have no clue where it ranks on best fitness communities in the United States. I came from working in a fitness community in St. Louis that was slightly bigger fitness community, but I would say more cliquey. That's one thing that I like about Kansas City is that it seems like everybody is willing to kind of put aside differences, put aside competition, and do what's right for the fitness community as a whole. And I think that that's why I appreciate this community so much. And that's not to say that St. Louis is not a great fitness community, because I think it is. But
it definitely is.
Yeah.
And I would say that the last thing I want to add here is that whoever wrote this, I want you to know that best fitness community is built by the people that are in it, and so you can be a part of that, and you could be the reason why it's better, or you can be the reason why it's worse. And I hope that if you're listening to this, that you choose to make it better, choose to be accepting, choose to put your arm around people that need their help, that are getting started with fitness, and make them feel like they belong.
Yeah, and also to add to this too, the the intermingling of different types of training. I think the less of the bullshit of oh, that guy, trains this way, or that guy does this, or, that guy's a meathead.
That seemingly is gone now, yeah. Right? Like we don't,
but
I never hear that anymore.
Like that.
That guy does CrossFit.
Yeah, that kind of negativity that can bring, that can damper a fitness community. And so I don't think we have much of that here. It's like you were saying. Mm-hmm. So anyways, next question.
You can ask me this one.
Why do people avoid drinking from the lower water fountain? Well, you don't, because what are you, 5'7"? You're 5'8". You drink from the low fountain sometimes, don't you? Is that right? You're 5'8". You've been shrinking too. What's crazy is like you've actually shrunk 2 inches since I've known you.
Dude, my hair, it still has me at 5'11".
That's true. You do pop it up a little bit, and I've seen what you've been doing. I seen the shoes.
I got a Jimmy Neutron going.
You've been getting some higher heeled shoes.
Sneaks.
Pulling the dog, the bounty hunter, to try and make yourself taller.
Listen, Kyle here is one of those guys who's 5'11", but pretends that he's 6 foot.
5'11" and 3/4.
He if we pull out the college program when he played football,
6'1",
that dude was 6'1". He was 6'1", 250.
Cowboy collar.
Yeah. I'm a legit 5'10". I've always been 5'10", sadly, and never been a half inch over. Just 5'10", dude.
Yeah.
All right. Why do people drink from the lower water fountain though? Do they? I mean, why? I will tell you this right now. Promoting a business, guys, you have to put a water fountain in your business. And the lower water fountain is for somebody in a wheelchair. God bless them. That's why
I was just about to say, hey, person who submitted this, if you didn't know, the lower water fountain's for somebody in a wheelchair. So the reason people don't use it a lot is because most people are not in wheelchairs. There's your answer.
Beer at the beach in summer or beer in the hot tub in the snow during winter? Ain't no doubt. Beer on the beach in the summer for sure. And I am a winter guy. But I would rather have like some Baileys and some hot chocolate if I'm chilling in the hot tub in the winter. That's just the truth. But there is absolutely nothing better than a crisp beer cracked with your ass in the sand on a beach. Nothing better, dude.
Ooh, they're both good. They're both good. I would say beer. I'm the same. Beach in the summer. The only problem with that is sometimes you get a little sand in the beer. And you can't waste it. You got to drink it down, and then you're drinking some sand, which is okay.
Happens to the best of us.
Helps with the gut microbiome.
What if we're having a beer on the beach and we're going to go there, Kyle? What kind of beer are you going to have? Head for the mountains?
I don't know. Any type you give me, really. I'll just whatever. I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I subscribe to the thought process of you got to work hard. When you're not on vacation, you want to do the right things as far as your diet goes. You want to exercise as often as possible. When you go on vacation, you got to enjoy yourself a little bit. So I don't have really a huge preference. I'd rather not have Guinness.
So bad day beach. To be any beer if you're next to Kyle on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, you've came with me to the beach, so you already know.
Name something on your bucket list, dude.
You go first, dude. I got nothing that's good.
Yeah, you do.
You definitely have a bucket list. You have somewhere in your journal, you have like 30 things, and it's like, I want to, eat on the top of Mount Everest,
Yeah, dude. Sorry,
candlelight
I
dinner.
lead an intentional lifestyle.
What's on your bucket list?
On my bucket list for sure would be I have a couple. I'd love to go to New Zealand. I've never been. I'd love to go to Amalfi Coast. Never been. I'd love to ride on a gondola in Venice, Italy. Never done that. I've never been to Europe, dude. I've never been to Europe. I have all these trips that I want to take because I never traveled in my 20s. I just kind of drop kicked them and said I'll do that in my 30s. I said I'll just work in my 20s.
Yeah, I would say. I mean,
once I have start a family, I'm sure my bucket list will change. Disney World probably be on there.
Yeah. I would say my things are like, I think it would be like fun to, I have a son and 2 daughters, and I think it would be fun to go on like a trout fishing trip with them. I think any like the traveling stuff I think of in terms of like cool things that I could do with my kids. It would be cool to go on. I've never shot like an elk or anything big game. It'd be cool to go do something like that. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, dude, I'd love to see the Aurora Borealis too. That's something I've never seen that I'd love to see.
You would love to get in one of those igloos that is just all Luke knows. It's all the it's just the windows.
The
and
super
look at
Instagrammy globe.
Yes.
Seeing up at that, like, dude. I mean, yeah. Was it you with Kim and that globe looking up at the stars?
This
That's
is the
terrible
difference
to you.
between-
That sounds awful.
This is the difference between me and you.
Yeah.
I would rather go to Canada and go on like a like a dog sledding trip, go into the backwoods and like go shoot something. And you're like, I want to go to like the glass igloo and I want to look at the Aurora Borealis or whatever.
Totally. Like while I'm served like badass food and drinks. No doubt.
That's where we split.
Yeah. You rough it. I'm like, give me the absolute like.
I want to like hike into the mountains.
I want the
like I'm
luxury
gonna
shit
die.
for sure. Yeah. I don't want to struggle for my bucket list.
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right. What's the number one daily habit you have to be successful?
I would say, so for those who might not know, our old boss, Andy Frisella, he had a big influence on me personally. I would say the thing that, I know he had an influence on you as well, but I would say the thing that he taught me that has made the biggest impact on my life and success is the power list. So basically writing down and being intentional about your day. A lot of people just go through their day and they kind of, they passively take their day.
Yeah, take what comes to them.
Their day comes to them instead of like attacking their day. Doing a power list every day and writing out, the tasks that you need to get done to basically continuously build and build success over time. I would say that's the most important thing. If you have like a goal in mind, and you're not writing down the steps that you need to get to that goal on a regular basis, your goal is, it's kind of, it's one of those things where, you're not doing anything intentional to get to that goal.
You're going to end up walking 50 feet to go 2 feet.
Yeah. I would say power list for me is probably the number one thing that somebody could write down. And then also not only just writing down a power list, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, is what I'm writing down on this list actually what I need to do to get to, the goal that I have? Because a lot of people will write out a power list and it's a bullshit list. It's just things that they're going to do anyways.
It's a to-do list. Do my laundry.
It's a to-do list instead of saying like, if you're in sales, it's,
and he uses the phrase critical tasks.
Yeah.
So these are not to-do list items. It's a critical task. It's something that you legitimately have to do if you want to get to there.
You know what I use for when I'm making a power list? The thing that I use is, am I writing something on this list that makes me uncomfortable to think about, right? So am I writing down something on this list that I know I don't really want to do, but that making that choice, getting into that uncomfortable feeling of like, I don't really want to do that, but I know that I need to do that.
What's an example, Kyle, in that scenario for you, like when you were coming up in the, like, for example.
So for me, like, I managed a lot of different stores. I took over stores that were in St. Louis that might have been underperforming, and I would go in there and I would need to make, relationships with gyms, relationships with trainers, relationships that maybe, these trainers have felt burned by our company at some time in the past and kind of, build a new bridge, reestablish a relationship. And so putting that on my to-do list, putting that on my power list and saying, hey, I need to go talk to so-and-so, knowing that so-and-so already has a preconceived notion about our company and beginning a relationship with that person, that can make a lot of people feel uncomfortable.
Dude, yeah. Walking into a room where they probably don't like you right off the bat.
Yeah, but just, starting that relationship out and then also following up on that relationship. So keeping it on my power list tasks over the next, month or so till you get to a point where you feel like you've actually established a good working relationship with somebody. I would say that is an example of something that you would put on your power list that, would make you feel uncomfortable, but it's going to take you, it's basically the steps that you need to be taking to win.
Highly recommend listening to the daily to win the day, which is under Andy's podcast. You can Google, you can search
MFCEO project.
MFCEO
You
win
might
the
have heard of
day. It's episode number 1 something, but it's like his most popular episode he's ever done, and it's win the day, and it's how to actually utilize the power list. So that's a great one. And honestly, it's hard to really top that, because if you do that, you're going to get to your goals a lot faster. The other thing that I would say, the number one absolute daily habit for me that has been really helpful is personal growth and reading. And so going after a skill that you're not already good at, I see a lot of people read books that kind of like already coexist with what where their like thought patterns already follow, right? Yeah. A disciplined guy reading about discipline doesn't really help, right? So I don't like to just read, and this is something that I feel really passionate about. I don't care how many books you've read. It seems to be really popular to like post, the 15 books you read this year so far and shit. I'm all about reading the book that you really need to read, because your actions are telling you that you need to read this book, right?
For sure.
I'm working on becoming more disciplined, so I have to read Atomic Habits for the 3rd time by James Clear. Phenomenal book. Every time I read it, I get something new out of it. But I would just say reading every single day to help you get in the right mindset to start your day, if you have an issue doing that, right? Which I can. So if I don't start my day off right, reading the right book that's going to help get me to the success that I want to get to, and actually putting in the actions that the book is telling you, versus just reading it to say you read it and you can understand it. But if you're not putting it into action, you're not going to see much from it.
Yeah. I think that goes back to the point of just being honest with being honest with yourself and self-assessing where you're at. If there's something that you suck at, and you're reading a book about, something that you already are basically, you've mastered, then you need to go, okay, well, I probably should search out a book that, covering what I suck at.
Yeah. If you read, if you could read, 2 books a year, 1 book a year, it really won't, but if you read the right one, it's going to change your life completely if you put it into practice.
For me, when I plow through books like that too, I don't retain them. Mm-hmm. There's certain things that I have to do to retain the information. So like writing things down while I'm reading helps me retain the information, and then also not rushing through a book.
Sure.
So
audiobooks also really help me. It sucks because, if you're following like 75 hard, for example, like, audiobooks don't count in quotes. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely an Audible learner. I do really, really well. I can soak it up if I listen to it. When I read, reading comprehension as far as that in school, not my best trait. I'd always have a hard time to have to reread it a couple times just to really truly get it and soak it all in. So do honestly what's best for you as far as your best way of learning. Doesn't mean you have to read. You can listen to, the same book on audio or on Audible, if you will, as often as you need to.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on. What
has kept you guys going and disciplined with your journey of business and fitness? You want to go ahead. Let's see what your answer to this is.
Oh, man, this is the truth. I made a massive goal when I was much younger, in that 18 to 24 age range, where I said, I will not be satisfied until I own my own business, and we have a big company and I get to make creative decisions. And I just didn't stop until we got there. And I didn't stop, and I still haven't stopped, obviously. But like, that is truly like, I told myself I was going to do something, and you don't know who you are until you actually say, this is what I stand for. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do whatever it takes until I get there. And it was cool because we never quit, and that's something that I would say that has defined my life to this point, as far as an adult, is that I made a decision and drew a line in the sand at like 20, 21 years old and said, like, I'm going to make this work or I'm going to die trying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with me, I didn't ever really notice this about myself until later. I would even say recently, but I've basically, in my life, I've taken the emotion out of business and fitness. I don't look at them emotionally, and I don't get emotionally wrapped up in them like some people do. Like a lot of people, if you're working in a job,
they don't define who you are, your self-worth.
Well, a lot of people will be working in a job and they'll be, feeling like, the boss isn't paying attention to me, blah, blah, blah. And then they get like, disgruntled, and then they, kind of pout about it. And then they eventually,
it affects their performance.
They eventually quit. Right.
Yeah.
I never looked at it like that. I was just pretty much unemotional. I was just like, A plus B equals C. So if I continuously do A plus B, then eventually I'll get C. And I didn't really think about it any more emotionally than that. I just kind of was like, I understand that if I do this and I do it long enough and I have the right formula to success, eventually success will find me. The same thing with fitness. I don't look at it emotionally like, oh, I don't want to work out today. That doesn't even like enter my mind. I don't think about it emotionally. I'm just like, I'm a person who, it's just kind of like atomic habits.
Yeah.
It's
Identity.
just, I get up because that's who I am and it's what I do. And I work out every day because, that's just part of who I am.
It's, if you guys have not listened to Atomic Habits or read Atomic Habits by James Clear, he just talks about it really easily as far as for helping people understand why the habits don't follow based on their goals, right? Someone says like, I'm aspiring to learn how to play guitar. Mm-hmm. Well, if I say that I'm learning how to play guitar, that means every single day I can be caught in this whirlwind of saying I'm learning how to play guitar. Like I don't actually have any real obligation to play. I'm still in this like, time in my life where I'm saying I'm learning, right? If I say every single day that I'm a musician, well, a musician practices every day. Yeah. If you say I'm a musician and I am a guitar player, well, then you better learn how to play guitar.
Yeah.
And so the habits are going to follow along, right?
Yeah. I think, a lot of people, when it comes to business, I've seen a lot of people basically wash out of, our company and other companies purely from not stepping back and being like, am I being emotional about this? Like, or, why am I getting so up in my feels about this? When it should.
But I think identity comes into it a lot, Kyle. I think a lot of people attach themselves, unhealthy. They have this unhealthy attachment to, being enough in fitness. Like, most people start in fitness, I feel like from an insecurity standpoint, or they played sports. It's usually one or the other. Right. And so if you're starting off with like an insecurity, and you get to this point where you thought like, you'd be happy when you got there and you recognize that your intent was off. Like you got in shape for the wrong reasons, more or less. Does that make sense?
For sure.
So there's a lot of things that go into that and why people quit, but that's a whole nother podcast. Mm-hmm. Moving on. The best protein farts. I'm not going to pretend like I think farting is cool. It's not fun. We make sure that everybody leaves the room whenever they do it in this office. So there is no best, but for fun, let's just say Fruity Loopy Formula One by First Form because it's Fruit Loops. Here's
my thing with protein farts. They're in my experience, back in my younger days when I used to consume way too much protein that I really didn't need to be consuming, like 300 to 330 grams of protein a day, the amount of protein I was consuming really gave me worse farts than the type of proteins that I was eating. I would say that you hear the most common protein farts coming from proteins that are low quality and have high amounts of lactose and fat in them. So if you are, the type of person who might fart a lot when they're drinking a protein shake,
any value container is pretty much falling in this category.
Stay away from those.
If you're buying protein in a 5-pound jug or more, it's probably going to make you fart a lot.
Yeah, I would say probably casein protein to make you fart the most. That's just off the top of my head. So thank you for whoever, sending that question about farting.
Hey guys, seriously appreciate all the questions. We think it's cool. We love doing it. This is something that we're going to do probably on a monthly basis or so. So always stay tuned for good questions with Jeff and Kyle. If you haven't already, know that if you subscribe to the podcast and stop by one of our locations, we'll get you a Miami Vice Protein Bros t-shirt on the house. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast already, please do so. And please share it up because that's how we get people involved. And that's really what this is all about. We're trying to build the best fitness community. If you read that question, that's what we mean. We were really trying to build the absolute best fitness community here in KC. And that starts with us getting together. If you haven't shared us up, please share us up. Otherwise, thank you so much. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace out.